From the southern skies, our voice rings true. Sydney to Perth, bringing the news, exposing the lies, the secrets, the pain, fighting for justice, breaking the chains. A voice down under, we're shining the light on cops and abusers. We're taking the fight for kids, for the survivors, for hope and truth. Together we're stronger and covering proof.
G'day, g'day! Welcome to A Voice Down Under. My name's T. Awesome. Okay, as says in the title, Sea Org Secret. I've been trying to do more content about Australian or New Zealand, talking about some people's experiences, because there isn't much in the news these days. As far as I know, Scientology has put what's called something called a D block on the media here in Australia. That's why we don't see Brian Seymour reporting on them anymore, Steve Kinnane or anything like that. There doesn't seem to be a lot in the last sort of 5 years. So I'm going to go through all of the stuff that I can find. Mostly it's around the Anonymous Times and stuff like that. But I think it's still important to keep the stories alive and hopefully chase them up and see what's going on, if anything's come of it and stuff like that. But anyway, today I'm going to show an interview. It's quite a few years old, but it's very revealing. It's quite a powerful interview. It's quite intense, so trigger warning for any ex-members that may be watching. It is quite confronting, and it really kind of he talks about the inner workings of the Sea Org. So it's a New Zealand guy who was in the Sydney Org for some time, joined the Sea Org, and then went over to LA. He talks about his experience there, and you may recognize who it is. He was a big activist about 15 years ago, but you know, he's moved on with his life. He's not doing it anymore. So you know, he's not going to come out and do any more now. He's done his bit and he's moved on with his life. So, but I think this is a really important interview, and it just really highlights some of the abuses and some of the inside practices, if that makes sense. I'm waffling. I feel like I'm waffling at this point. So I'm just going to put it on. So without further ado,
can you give us a brief history of your experience in Scientology?
What happened is I'm 35, I was born in 1974, and my parents were in Scientology. So I actually did a couple of courses, but wasn't really involved that much with Scientology until I was 15. And when I turned 15, I actually and became a member of the SEAL.
Okay, awesome.
Just after my 15th birthday.
Yeah.
And I stayed there until I was 21. So I did 6 years for them. And then after that, I was involved in Scientology again for another year and a half before I finally left it for good. And I haven't been involved since then.
So you were in the SEAL from when you were, say, 15 to about 22 or something?
That's correct, yes.
So how did it affect you as a young man? I mean, like, you missed out some of those prime years there.
It was hard because I didn't know what I was missing until afterwards. How I dealt with life in there was difficult because
why is it going on?
As a young man, I was trying to grow. I was trying to go out and find different likes and dislikes, and all of that was crushed because the only liking you could have was for the purpose of the SEAL. The only liking you could have was for the music produced by Golden Era Productions, or the only books you could read were from L. Ron Hubbard. You know, you couldn't go off and read this or that. You couldn't listen to radio. You couldn't read the newspapers. You couldn't buy magazines. You know, you couldn't even watch TV. So your whole life was that. And, you know, as a young man, I wanted to, you know, I was growing. You know, I was going through puberty.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think it was wrong to want to love another human being. You wouldn't think it was wrong to show emotion or liking towards a woman.
Yeah.
And the moment you do that, you're punished. You know, I wanted to experience sex. I wanted to touch a female body. And the moment I did it, I'm dragged into this office by these men that tell you you're an ape. You're an ape for masturbating. You're evil for having even considered the idea of touching this woman outside of marriage. And I look around me and see the people that are married in this place, and they don't even get to see their wives. So why would I want that? I just wanted to know what it was like to kiss a woman, and that's just punishable. And then, I'm forced onto the decks, and I'm made to clean and do hard labour as amends to repent for it. And I'm held in this office and told, read this. This shows that, if you think about ejaculation, think about touching a woman, you're an ape. You're not in control of your emotions. I'm a young man. I'm hardwired. This is what young men, young women do. And you're left there with choice. How do I handle this? How do I resolve not wanting to express this desire? So you come up with a solution.
Yeah.
And the solution was horrible. I have to stop wanting sex. I have to stop it and then when you try to stop wanting it, they take you in an interrogation and the thought of wanting to have sex. Well, the thought leads to the action, therefore don't even have the thought.
Right.
So how do you deal with this? How does your mind cope? Well, I started to comprehend things. I'd get an erection and I'd think of something like cockroaches or a horror film or vampires or anything, something that would make me go like that so that I could turn it off and let my erection go down. I wore tight pants, tight underwear so that it would crush and cut off the blood there so that it couldn't act, so it couldn't do what it was supposed to do, which was grow and erect and make me want to go off and have hormones.
Yeah.
Anything that turned that on, I wanted to turn it off.
Yep.
And this goes on and on and on, and eventually your mind identifies sex with real pain because the action results in such pain. And in this organization, in Scientology, it results in such punishment that it is evil for you to do this.
Yeah.
There's a fundamental dynamic and a right of a human being and a desire, and it's gone, it's crushed. And while everyone else out there was going through that between their great teenage years and experiencing and finding out true love, I was finding out what it was like to be punished for the thought.
Yeah. So after you left the SEALs, so when you were 22, how did that affect you then? I mean, how did you cope with that after that?
Can you?
I just want to pause it there. I mean, what do you guys think? I think it's just so incredibly obviously restrictive, but it just shows the cruelty, in the SEAL organization, and just the turning off of human emotions and human urges, what makes us human. It's very, very sad and it's really, really sick and twisted. But yeah, like I said, for former members, trigger warning, because it is a very in-depth and raw interview, but I think it's an incredible interview. I think the man's very brave for speaking up about this, and has a lot of integrity. So anyway, I'm gonna carry on playing it.
Imagine I've been doing it for so long, having these images in my mind to turn me off from having sex, that when it actually came time to be with a woman properly outside the church confounds and have sex, I'd have the lights off. Not for some arousal reason. I'd have the lights off because I had to close my eyes, and now I had to have those images in my mind, those horrible images, to have sex, because my body over the last 6 years got used to the idea of having the erection and having these mental images of terror and ugly, disgusting things. And the body got overrode it. It said, right, we will have an erection now when you have these ideas. So when I'm with this woman, I'm not thinking about the woman. I'm not even thinking about other women. I'm thinking about anything else other than sex, so that I can now have sex. And if you want to talk about dysfunctional, this doesn't even begin to comprehend it. I feel sorry for my wife that I have in Melbourne. I feel sorry for her because she didn't understand why sex was so hard for us, why emotion, why touching, why the speaking of the word love was just a foreign idea to me.
Yeah.
You know, touching, that's, you know, my mind goes, heavy petty, don't do it. My mind just jumps to this, you know, don't touch in public.
Yeah.
In private, don't do anything. Wait till you go to the bedroom only.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about a real few miles.
Yeah. Good, yeah. Can you describe what you think that you became or how you became as a SEAL member? You've spoken to me before about, the fact that you feel like that wasn't you and now you're trying to find you back, get you back.
I didn't know what to do to survive, to feel good. I had to do something that resulted in happiness. And when you're in an environment that only rewards you when you've done what is needed to be done, as opposed to what you think should be done or what is right. After years of that, you decide, I'm going to do what I need to in order to get an applause. I'm going to do what I need to in order so I can sit down and be in peace. And often those things, unfortunately, meant in my position in the church, being always in the communications office, always in charge of ethics and morality issues for staff, was such a heavy burden on punishment, making people do what they wanted to do. That's where I got my enjoyment from. I didn't have friendships like that. My friend could be a friend the next day, and then the next day I'd be penalising him out of a job. So I had to learn that you didn't get happiness from friendships, and relationships were a no-go. Where do you get happiness from? Enjoying what you must do, and that's where I got my happiness from. Right or wrong had nothing to do with it. I didn't even those two words did not come into the equation.
Right.
And unfortunately, the human beings around me that were very much not treated like human beings, they suffered because of a result of that. Because they were dealing with a man here that looked at them like this. And now here I am as an adult outside of that. And I'm looking around at people. They're no longer assets. They're no longer parts of a machine. They demand respect. They want to be treated like a living thing. I'm still trying to get there. I'm sorry, but 6 years of my life, non-stop, every day, assets. They're parts of a machine, and I must make them work.
So you didn't view them as people with feelings or?
Well, you can't, no, because even the concept of dealing with their feelings or am I going to ignore their emotions didn't even come into the equation anymore. What has that got to do with what I've got to do for the church? I'm sorry, I have got to get this product. I have got to get this done. Their consequence of how they felt about it can't be part of the equation. And it can't be part of my equation. I got to a point where I didn't lose sleep. If I asked this person to have an abortion, I didn't lose sleep. I didn't even think twice after it. My only consideration was, I don't have to fill that post again with another person because they're going to abort. Or if they did decide that they were going to have the baby, then I was going, Christ, I have to hire someone to replace them. There was no joy. There was no celebration. There was no announcement. Hey, Monica Potter's going to have a baby. The joy of life. There was no announcement of this.
Yeah.
Instead, it was Monica's betrayed us, and she's going to leave the organisation, and we're going to have to work harder because she's betrayed the trust. That's the viewpoint. It was never the word love spoken in one single conversation.
Yeah.
No, let's do this. You know, I'd look out on the public Scientologists. At least they had the option to have that.
Yeah.
I just, sorry, I'm just going to stop it every now and then, you know, just so we can discuss. But yeah, so a couple of you said, you know, that's normal religion. And yeah, I get that, like, you know, no sex before marriage and stuff like that. But the difference with Scientology, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can't even have your own private thoughts, you know. because you're afraid that it's going to come out in the auditing, which is just shocking. There's no boundaries. There's no privacy at all. Hey, Bo Beats, we're watching an interview of a former Sea Org member from New Zealand who spent time in the Sydney org and then went over to work in I think it was LA. Yeah, LA with well, he'll go on and tell you who he worked with, but he was very high up with the executives and stuff. Rudy, just to let you know, when we're doing these streams, it's a very serious stream, so we're just trying to focus on the interview. Yeah, so we don't want to tell any bedtime stories and stuff, but thank you very much anyway. I thought policing should be criminal. Yeah, I'm going to carry on playing it, but it's quite confronting. And so he was quite high up, and so he mentioned the abortions there, and I believe that he was at one point, when he was in Sydney anyway, was responsible for ordering Sea Org members to terminate their pregnancies, you know. So but yeah, he will go on to talk about that a bit more, I believe, from what I can remember. I haven't watched it for a while, so I'm going to play. It's terrible, you know, what these people have to endure.
As a staff member, that in the Sea Org, there wasn't that option. You can have a relationship. You can have love. Public Scientologist, he had the joy of getting audited and this apparent privilege to speak. I had the penalty. I had security checks and interrogation every 2 months. That was my auditing. When something went wrong with a Public Scientologist auditing, you had a chance to get it corrected. I didn't. We went up to the Crown office and were told, M9, you know, clear up your misunderstood words, your out ethics.
Yeah.
You know? That was my experience. Your experience, you had a win in Scientology, you enjoyed a moment. You could go to a cafe and talk to your friends. The moment I had anything out of it, I come out of the audience, 5 minutes later, I'm back on post, right? Who am I going to court martial today?
Yeah.
Or who's on my list to go off and get?
So what was your post when you were doing this?
Most years I spent was over in Los Angeles, and there I was in charge of the communications or the establishment division of the Messenger organization. And the Messenger organization are those people that are charged with the highest authority within the church to basically do what's ever needed at any time, written or verbal is not applicable, and enforce that upon management. So whereas management were over local management units within continents that were then over the organizations, we were over management and overrode their decisions or asked them to do whatever was needed. Because often parts of the puzzle didn't understand why they were doing particular activities. It seemed innocent enough.
Yeah.
But only the CMO and RTC were actually in full control of the facts. Why do we need that org over there, that organization, to do particularly well right now? Why? Well, maybe we've got a legal case coming up and we need to strengthen the field out there. We need to get that part working.
Right.
It's all about the church. I don't care. I didn't care about the individuals involved. It just, can we get it done? You're a piece of meat. We called staff members coins. That was the term. When we had a person that we could get a position filled with, and we'd shut them off to play, you know,
Has anyone ever heard that term before? So I haven't heard anyone called coins before. I found that quite interesting. I've never, in all of the time of studying all of the details about Scientology and stuff, I've never heard them referred to as coins. So I'm wondering if that's maybe like an Aussie thing, or I don't know. I've heard of raw meat, but not coins. Yeah. Is Kelly in here? Because I can't see Kelly. That's really weird. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let me know if you've heard the term coins before. Because that's crazy. I mean, you couldn't get any more obvious that you're just using people for their money.
Shoved him down to Florida. It didn't matter if he had a child. It didn't matter if he had a wife in Los Angeles. That's not the point. I can take this guy, I can send him over to the Flag Land Base, and I can fix that problem. And then he starts screaming about the fact that he's away from his family. So, excuse me. SEAL policy says you will do anything required of you in the name of the SEAL, and you will do it. If you don't, you're in ethics conditions. Do you have doubts about being a SEAL member? Do you have doubts? You're a suppressive person. Do you want to be declared? We're going to have to tell your wife and kids that. And then you go, you separate them off. Right, communication's over. Talk to the wife. I'm sorry, but your husband has decided that he's got doubts on the SEAL. He's not willing to perform his duties. And, you know, we've done a security check on him. And sorry to tell you, but he's actually thought about going out 2D on you. He's thought about other women.
Right.
You know, he's not really in line with the purpose anymore. And sadly to say, you're not part of his equation anymore either. So you can do something about this. You can leave him and stay in the SEAL. You can do this. And sure enough, she sits down there and goes, geez, why did he go to Florida and walk away from me? And then she takes a look at it. Was he a good father? I never got to spend time with him anyways. What value is he really as a partner? Because there is no value, because you don't have time to have a relationship. So it's not hard for that person to go, right, I will divorce. If you took a look at the statistics of the SEAL and every member in it and looked at how many marriages they have, we've got people that have been married 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And this is all from a church that claims to be able to solve these problems in relationships. And just about every SEAL member has got a history of 1 or 2 marriages.
So how often did that happen? Well, you described about, you know, talking to the wife and getting that marriage to be dissolved. How often did that happen?
Well, quite a lot.
That you knew of?
Well, quite a lot. I mean, let's understand one thing. When I was over in Los Angeles working there, we had the entire middle management, some 500 staff.
And this was the late 80s, early 90s, wasn't it?
The mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
93, 94, 95,
Okay.
96. We had around 500 staff. Now, if you can imagine for a moment, possibly having each staff member being in some serious trouble perhaps twice in a year. That equated to 1,000 incidents per year. Over my 3-year period, that's some 3,000 incidents. Now, this staff member over here may hear about something, but from my position in the communications office, we're the ones who are dealing with it every day.
Yeah.
So I dealt with this quite a lot. How many instances, you asked? I couldn't even give you a figure. It would be, we were going to talk about specific instances of sitting a guy down about his marriage or the issue with talking to his family,
Yeah.
and we're talking hundreds.
Right.
Some of these young kids, all from around the world, they've got no other hope other than the hope that we give them.
So I just wanted to, so Lena, you might know, sorry, I know I keep interrupting, but, you know, it's good to discuss it because if I don't say it now, I'll forget because my bloody ADHD. So all these problems with the marriage. Oh, thank you, Bo Beats. Thank you for becoming a member. Yay. Should have like a little tune that we play when someone becomes a member. So he's talking about in the SEAL, so they don't get charged for the auditing to fix their marriage problems, you know, but they're causing them, aren't they? And they're controlling them and manipulating them. And it's just all set up for marriages to fail and stuff. They don't give a crap about it. It's just so horrible. The depth of the deception and the control and the, you know, just completely taking them over and making them into robots. It's just, it's horrendous. Yes.
Been told to disconnect. Their families are asking for them back. They want them back for Christmas.
Yeah.
We don't want them to go away at Christmas because we know if we send them away, if we allow them to go, there's a high probability they're not going to want to come back. So don't let them go in the first place.
Right.
Now, what happens is the family arcs up, goes, come on, you're entitled to several weeks leave around, come back. Have it. What I would do, give them a security check, give them an interrogation. I'm sorry, but you did this wrong. You're going to have to do conditions. You're going to have to do liability. This could take you several months. We can't approve your request for leave. Denied. And then the family starts sending letters. What are you involved in that you can't even take time off? I received a letter. All communications to the staff and the public are monitored. I see the communication. I go, oh God, they're going to get them out. So I pull the staff member in, put the letter over here. Excuse me. Your family, I think, is anti you being here. And they'll look down and go, God, I know. They know. Of course they're anti you being here. They haven't been able to see them in the year.
Yeah.
And you talk to them, you go, well, what you're doing here in the SEAL, the Scientology, is far more important than your immediate family. Let's get them on the phone and talk to them. And you coerce them into talking with them, giving them a public relations story. Oh, I will come back in a month or two. Another month or two goes past. They start getting angry. They start making phone calls. You start blocking off those calls and finally you tell the staff member, you know what? It's time to disconnect. They're really against you being here. And guess what? The staff member goes, you know what? They're right. Because I talk to them and they just yell and scream at me now and start criticizing Scientology. They must be crazy. So disconnect. Okay, disconnect. Good. Fair roads, fair weather. You only write them once a month. Talk about how great it is. Talk about, tell them you're having fun. You don't want to get them upset about you. And eventually the family line disappears. And then one day, this person wants to think about leaving the SEAL, and how are they supposed to? They've got nowhere to go in life. They don't have bank accounts, they don't have credit cards, they don't even know what's going on out in the world. There's no newspapers, there's no television, there's no magazines. They're completely dependent upon now the life that you give them.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you do as a human being? If you even know you're a human being, if that concept is still real to you. You haven't gone off and played sports. You haven't sat and been to a movie together. You've worked 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
You're a machine now.
Yeah.
The machines don't have the luxury of thinking. You just do. You just do me.
Yeah. So tell me, what's your take on DM being responsible for this, as opposed to, say, LRH and Scientology itself?
Oh, it's good for somebody to point the finger and blame. That one man is this one tyrannical man. Yes, David Miscavige is tyrannical. But I was just the same. I was one of those. There's no difference between DM and myself. There wasn't. I would have done everything he did. And I did.
And others as well,
And
did the same.
we're all created. But where did that creation come from? What makes it okay? Okay. I'll tell you what does. What you see, what the public out there sees, when Scientology's policies are criticised, we'll get together these books, we'll get together these volumes of policy letters, and we'll show the world these new policies. Well, guess what? But we won't show you what the SEA organisation runs on. Our own separate set of orders from wrong. Our own flag orders numbering in the thousands. We have Office of Special Affairs special orders. We have special training materials for messengers, special orders only for messengers, and even within the SEAL. Most of the flag orders are not even known to the very SEAL members, but they are to management, and then within management, even a smaller group are privy to the other policy letters. These policy letters dictate these actions, that they are altercations between staff members are acceptable. This is Ron's words.
These physical altercations.
That's correct.
So that, and this is the main reason why I wanted to show this video, is what he talks about now. So he's talking about secret policies where, you know, and they're written by Ron, which says it's okay to beat members of staff. And I hadn't heard this spoken about before. So we always hear about David Miscavige when he took over the church, when Ron passed and everything. that he's ruined it, and that Ron is a humanitarian, and Ron was a good guy, and there's a lot of free zoners that think like that. And but this just goes again, because I did a show, I think it was yesterday, talking about, well, it was reading out Hannah Whitfield's or Hannah Eltringham Whitfield, her experience in the Sea Org and the violence and the head fuckery from Hubbard, and yeah, I just want to keep exposing that, because it's not, I mean, Miss Cabbage is an evil bugger as well, like, obviously, but I do truly believe that Ron was evil as well, and this was all, I mean, who puts this stuff together like this? It's designed to turn people into robots at the top. Obviously the public don't see all of this, and even kind of staff members don't see some of the stuff that's going on in the Sea Org. They see them as the elite, and that they've sacrificed all their belongings and their time, and they're working hard, and they've always got a smile on their face, but they're saving the world and all of this. Yeah. So you do whatever's necessary to get the job done. And I'm just wondering if there is anyone that's heard that's either that's been in that has heard of these policies, these secret policies. And he's saying in the thousands, like directions for messengers. Have these been out before? I don't know, because this interview is about 15 years old, but I was just wondering if anyone else has spoken about it. I did find some more information, and I found out what some of the actual policies are called and stuff, but I have to dig it out again, because I can't remember where I put it. I've got so much stuff. But yeah, I just thought it's really, really interesting, and just awful, just barbaric as well, but he'll go on to explain further. It's pretty shocking stuff.
Words are not heard by or known by public Scientologists. These are his words saying you can beach a human being and throw them overboard. This is Ron Hubbard saying you may put a person in a rehabilitation course and bar all communication with other human beings, that you may be punished for communication. I'm talking any communication, unless prompted and instructed to speak.
Yeah.
These are policies that say the purpose of the SEAL has nothing to do with the creed of Scientology. This is about putting ethics on the planet, and it's about control. These policies instruct and guide you on how to take care of an enemy network or group of people that are attacking the SEAL of Scientology. These are not the same policy that as you see for a public Scientologist in what you call the potential trouble source suppressive person rundown course. These are far more aggressive than anything you've ever imagined. And that's the machine. David Miscavige is just enforcing the policies and following them as a zealot.
Yeah.
He's not making this stuff up. These policies really exist to do this, to act in that way, to use aggression.
So how many others would know about these policies, or these,
A number. I'll give you an example. I was surprised to hear Marty Radford's departure from the church. I met Marty Radford several times and was involved with him at the Flagland base up in Los Angeles, and I also met him on the ship. And what amazed me is that people like Marty Radford and Mike Rinder aren't talking about anything. They don't even see what the real crimes here. I mean, they're talking about David Miscavige giving him a slap. I'm sorry, but this happened throughout the SEAL organization. Foster Tompkins used to beat staff. DM used to do it. These are not the first people to hit another human being.
Yeah.
What shocked me though is that Marty Radford, Mike Rinder were involved in having staff members being fed beans and rice for weeks at a time at the Flag Land Base and in the Hollywood Guarantee Building, denying children nutritional supplements. Mike Rinder in the specific, allowing young men and women to be hired. And how did we fix their educational requirements? We paid a Scientologist out in Los Angeles to give them a certificate
It said they had improved educational standards. Yet Mike, Brenda, and Marty aren't even looking at these things as crimes. They're not looking at the fact that we didn't even provide medical provisions for staff. We didn't have women get pap smear tests to check for cervical cancer, to check their eyesight. The answer to everything is, we'll audit you, but you don't get audited. And there's Marty Rathbard and Mike Brenda talking about, I got slapped by David Miscavige, and that's their big crime in 20 years. I'm sorry, that's not the crime. And why aren't they talking about it? Maybe they don't even think that what they did was a crime. The only reason they're talking about David Miscavige slapping them is because they felt physical pain. To them, that's a crime. And labeling David Miscavige as the cause of all this, untrue. Marty Rathbard himself has reamed out staff. Marty Rathbard himself has been terminated. Mark Engber has been terminated. Mark Yeager, a tall, imposing figure and often the head of the Commodore's messenger organisation, a very imposing individual who has walked around the organisation to go, check him. You're off post. You do this. You're going on mission. You're out ethics. They're not even talking about these incidents. David Miscavige had nothing to do with those. And that's how Mark Yeager liked to run his messenger organisation. That filtered down through management. I was running around the Hollywood guarantee. You're out ethics. Sorry, we've got a policy in the church, in the seal, that says I can RPF one person at a flag bureau every week. I don't need justification. I just need to keep you on your toes. Who's going to be this week? Going to not be the down statistic guy. You could be next. Check. Then fear is the dominating factor. Fear gets compliance.
Yeah.
Willingness doesn't. RH talks about using affinity to obtain compliance. Only for a public Scientologist. Look into the policy letters, and it's rife. The SEALs policy letters are rife with aggression and command and discipline for even misaddressing a senior officer. And sometimes in the mind of a person probably viewing this video, it would be hard to reconcile the two different human beings I'm talking about. L. Ron Hubbard, the founder, L. Ron Hubbard, the dictator and commodore of the SEAL organization. But the two people are the same. And people maybe listening to this who have been in the SEAL know this is true and thought that it was the exception that they were treated like that.
Yeah.
It's not the exception, it's the rule. And the higher you go up, the worse it gets. The problem is, you can't disagree.
Yeah.
Because if you disagree, even mentally, you'll get a security check. One of the questions will be, have you thought? So now it becomes wrong to even have a thought. But
I just honestly, I find this so sick, you know. I don't even know how to. I'm not very good at putting stuff into words, but the whole, how is this about putting ethics in? Like, how is this about saving the world? You know, it's just pure cruelty and like messing with people's heads and getting them to completely just give up themselves and become a Ron bot, you know. It's insanity. It is literally insanity, isn't it? You know, bringing people to insanity. It's like he's playing out what was going on inside his mind or something. I don't know, just some kind of, it's just really sick. I just find it really sick. And I'm so sorry that people are still going through this, no matter what the numbers are, you know. And I wish there was a way to get them out. They condition you to be afraid of your own thoughts. Yeah. And natural survival instincts. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for putting it into words. I'm not the best with words, but like I feel it. I feel, and I totally understand what you're saying, but just articulating things, I am not the best at. I used to be. Hoping that I'm going to get the shots in 3 weeks' time, I think, and I'm hoping that my brain will hopefully like start to come back a bit. And yeah, Mad, like I miss all you lot, mate. You like We need to get together soon. Definitely, we need a down under. What do we call it? Not a reunion, a bloody gathering. Why can't I see Kelly? Oh no, which Kelly is it? I can't see any Kelly here. Kelly. I can't see a Kelly. That's really annoying. There are a few channels where I've seen people getting blocked by mistake, so I hope that hasn't happened. But I'll have to let me know which Kelly it is, and I will. I don't even know how to check where people are blocked. I haven't blocked anyone, have I? I don't think I have. Anyway, I should continue.
You can't do, you can't think, you can't compute now. So now you have to turn off that part of your mind that even thinks. You can't afford to think, is it right or wrong what my senior just did?
So tell me, when these SEAL people say in the HG building, you know, they whatever, were getting the beans and rice and weren't getting medical attention and things, what was the scene for the guys in the upper management? Guys like Mark Yeager, Guillaume Reserve, Marty Rathbun, Mike Grinder. What was the scene for them?
Lavish. I'll give you an example.
Lavish?
Lavish spending.
Yeah.
For them, I'll give you an example. About 3 times a year, David Miscavige, Marty Rathbun included, Guillaume Lesev, the Executive Director International, various members of the Watchdog Committee, would all come down to Florida. We had for them special apartments built at the Hacienda Gardens that were just gorgeous. Spanish marble, layered throughout, luxurious kitchens, gymnasiums, filling with the latest equipment. I arranged the purchase of one piece of gym equipment and it cost them almost $10,000 US. And you know what they did with it? Rodney Miscavige got up on it and did his little trick of hanging by his toes. This is David Miscavige's brother.
Yeah.
That's how amusing the instrument was to him. It was a toy. And then we would take cash funds and we would allocate vast amounts of money to get Pontiac Grand Am so they could drive around in luxury. I'd arrange drivers if they wanted drivers to drive them around while everyone else walked or got on a packed bus. Their diets were special. They had special nutritional requirements, so we would buy wheatgrass and wheatgrass juices and fine coffees from France, coffee houses and crackers from Switzerland. You know, you'd have to make this shit up almost to believe it. But this was their budget. And then we would take that huge amount of cash and it would be exhausted. And then we would justify the expense through falsification of some kind of a record or receipt that we could get from public Scientologists or something. And that was declared the usage of the monies. But we're talking thousands of dollars here. The average SEAL member got less paid to him in 1 year than what one executive would have just spent on his luxuries in a week. And this is how they lived. I got a $10 SEAL shirt. Marty Rathbun, David Miscavige, they got $150 US back in 1992. $150 US for a handmade Egyptian cotton shirt. And we were made to hand wash them for them because we couldn't put it in a machine. That one shirt that he got was worth more than all the uniforms I would get in 2 years.
Yeah. But you had a senior position too. You were, what was your?
I took like, I mean, after they left the base, I always made sure there was enough good food left over for me. Some of my people in the messenger organisation too. I mean, we had like kings as well, so we like them coming because after they left, who gets the spoils of war? We did. Yeah, we went off and finished off that big shopping that we did. It's so tragic for us if the executives had to leave early because all that great food and stuff. I mean, we dreamed about food like this. You get what you're eating in the SEAL. We put them on beans and rice at the flag land base. Teach them a lesson. I mean, I'm not talking beans and rice. I'm talking beans and rice for breakfast, lunch, and
Yeah.
okay. And they tried to go up to the canteen to buy food. We posted security guards to prevent them from buying other food because otherwise the punishment wasn't being enforced.
Right.
Understood by the staff.
Right. So were you guys on beans and rice at the same time?
No, actually, sometimes we were here.
And sometimes you weren't?
No, sometimes we got away with it. Because technically we weren't part of the flag land base. We were messengers. And over in Los Angeles as well. we find ways to get around it. I mean, the messengers are a power unto their own. They're a law unto themselves. They're not answerable to anybody. If we really wanted to get around something, we could do that.
Yep.
I mean, the idea is we looked at management like chalk and cheese. Management and Scientologists scum that we have to deal with, and frankly, any bullshit they give us is an inconvenience to us. You know, we're the messengers. We're authorized by policy to do anything we want. You can't stop us. There's nothing you can do. So everything that went wrong in management was looked at not as a responsibility, but as, oh God, we've got to fix this. And I look at the staff list, I see names. I don't see humans, I see names. I don't look at a person's file and see a human being that has horrible experience as a child, what happened to him. I look and go, Christ, is he going to fall apart if I put him on that post? My consideration isn't to fix him. My consideration is, can I use him?
Right.
Is he good enough for what I want? Is he robust enough? Is he turned off enough so that he can put up with this position I'm going to give him? Care of staff members. Sorry, we have an ethics office. We don't have a chat box. There is nobody to go grieve to. You grieve to the ethics officer. I was the ethics officer. And the solution is always the same. You did something. You're the cause of your demise. And you're wasting my time. Yes. And then after that, if we saw misbehaves, Christ, like, and you give them a committee of evidence. We'll give them a declare. These are extreme. Go declaring a person as an extreme action, cutting them all off from everybody he knows.
Yeah.
And what concerns me is that we've got people out there who have had positions similar to mine within the SEA organisation, within the church, such as Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder. And I'm not understanding why they keep coming forward with these statements, I'm a victim. They were the aggressors.
Yeah.
Everyone's a victim. If you really want to go down to that level, we're all victims. You know. But hang on, we're talking about thousands of people worldwide and stories coming out from all levels, and apparently no one's doing it. It's just all a magic trick. So the Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder are totally responsible. They stood by and watched while they instructed their HCO communication officers to do these things to their own staff, to deny them liberties, to deny them days off. This is not a crime. Basic fundamental human rights in a civilized society saying you get medical treatment, you have the right to work some certain hours, you should enjoy life, you should do other activities. And Mike Rinder, as the commanding officer of the Office of Special Affairs, denied these rights to his staff. Marty Rathbun, as Inspector General for Ethics, just stood by while the technology was changed and gave this big rubber stamp.
Has anybody so what he's saying here is, he's saying that Marty Rathbun and Mike Rinder didn't they're just talking about the abuse that they got of miscarriage, but they were, I think he's saying, equally as abusive. They were both violent and extreme as well. But he's saying that they didn't own up to what they actually did, like the stuff that they've done. They kind of put it on miscarriage and haven't kind of admitted their crimes. Now, I don't know. I haven't watched enough of either of their stuff, So has anyone seen any Michael, Marty talking about stuff that they've done? So I'd be curious to see if they have now since this interview, yeah. Rudy.
Technology changed.
Yeah, there's a project set up years ago in Scientology to change it because it was realised that Ron Hubbard had said some pretty far out things.
Yeah.
It was coming under scrutiny. The book all about radiation contained clear falsehoods.
A lot of his books did. They had to be fixed to make Scientology credible. So slowly changed the policy limits. L. Ron Hubbard becomes a trademark, not a human being.
So who was in charge of that project then?
Don't know who was in charge of the project. It was a general fundamental agreement. But Marty Rathbun himself, as the
Yeah.
Inspector General of Technology, signed off on these things. He stood by and allowed this to actually go. My messenger organisation I was part of had the Office of the Senior Case Supervisor International.
Yeah,
Rubber stamp, change it, change it, change it. I mean, all these books and things that have come out and all the technology has been changed. What you're being asked to believe here is that Ron Hubbard himself, the Safe Health Special Briefing Course, which included all materials on Scientology, himself was a squirrel. His own technology that he delivered to personally supervise to hundreds of people, thousands, was all wrong. And somehow he just didn't even look at his own dictionary. He didn't even look at his own policy limits. Yet he was teaching it for years. This is the epitome of utter ridiculousness. That at the start of every course in Scientology and in the Sea Org, there is keeping Scientology working, which says any alterations to the tech. But David Miscavige and people like Marty Rathbun said, but we found a new document that says that Ron Hubbard really meant this. Well, where's the document? And when finally people asked on OT level, say, excuse me, but did Ron really say this? It took him about a decade to finally come out with the handwritten L. Ron Hubbard pages. Do you really believe they came from Ron? Why did it take 10 years to get it out?
Yeah.
It takes a long time to write somebody's handwriting. You've got enough.
yeah. So tell me, what was your procedure, or how were critics handled? How were critics viewed? Threats to the church. What was your procedure on handling them or dealing with them?
There's a specific procedure. The procedure is when you've got this critic, he's gotten the information from someone to come and attack. Where did he get that information from? And once you identify the source of that, and it's always a human being, okay, find out a way to discredit them. Now, people talk about on the internet and on boards and in books that Scientology, not Scientology, but the management of Scientology manipulate information. Well, here's the big shock to everyone out there that's looking at this. Is that thing you call a priest getting a privileged file is not privileged. True. The auditor person auditing you and your case supervisor above that auditor are probably never going to discuss those details. Most of them are very good like that. They wouldn't violate that sacred trust. The trust is only entrusted to them. I can still, as a walk into the folder room and grab anyone's PC file and read it. And that's exactly what I did. I can look in their file and see, right, this person has admitted when he was 7-year-old having a dog lick his genitals. He's admitted to having sex with a woman that was legally underage. Oh, I've got this for you now. Now, how do I get that information out of his file into the public domain? There's several solutions to it. First solution is I can get him to admit it. Oh, hello, both. Would you do that? You approach him and you sit him down and you say, look, we're going to put you through a security check. Okay? This is just to clear up everything, make everything in order, and then we're gonna clear you and we're gonna give you a new post. Okay? The guy goes, oh, cool. Sitting down, security check questions. He sits down. He's not in an auditing session anymore. And the auditor says, still an auditor, but not doing an auditing session. So, we have ever had with someone who's underage, and the guy thinks, oh, well, yeah, you know the answers to that. And the auditor goes, no, we know it, but we're just doing this to, you have to answer the questions, so it's still a security check for your qualification. So, yeah, I have. I mean, I did this blah, blah, but you know about that. So, thank you very much. Gotcha. Now, we've got it now. Now we're entitled legally to put that out in the public domain because we're morally conscious of society's needs to know these things.
And so how many people knew about this? Where you're working? Like how many people were aware of this? Everybody in CMO or
I would say the commanding officers of CMOs, no. The deputy commanding officers, no. And the HCO area secretaries, no. The other staff, to a mild extent, I mean, they were familiar because they would often see the end results of a smear campaign against a staff member. And it's quite horrible for a staff member. He's gone and admitted to all these things in his life, and then he gets out of line and you decide to do a committee of evidence. Now you splatter all these personal details on a committee of evidence, and it's on the staff notice. And the guy feels that big. You're talking about his perverted sexual behavior. God, you just destroyed this guy's reputation. The very people he works with every day. Of course he's going to bow down and be a dog to you now.
And what about those that don't bow down? What do you do to them? What did you do to them? The ones that kept fighting or the ones that kept?
Troublesome. Yeah, I mean, people that didn't comply were just annoying. I'm like, another one that's got a free mind. Christ, why question it? What's not going to change anything? If you keep questioning, we've got the rehabilitation project course, we've got the penal colony we can put you in. The threat of that alone is enough to terrify people to not do it. To step back and go, well, okay, yeah, okay, without it, we just said that. Because the fear, the idea that you can go into that environment is horrible. Now, if they were beyond even that, we're talking about the fear that in mind. The only other solution is kick them out. Once they're out of the seal, you've got to cut them off from Scientology. How do you do that? You enforce an order, which we enforce all throughout Los Angeles, that if you were an ex-Scientologist, one, you could never be a staff member of another organization.
You mean an ex-SEAL member?
Yeah, you can never be a staff member of a normal Scientology organization. And if you joined up to a Scientology-run business, you had to sign a paper that said, I do intend to rejoin the SEAL at one day. And then you have to pay a preload bill, first and foremost, from the SEAL. When you're trapped, you're just caught. Now, you got guys in there 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They don't know anybody else in life other than Scientologists or SEAL members. You put them out on the street, they've got nowhere to go. The fear alone of that is enough to keep you in there.
So what about these crazy interrogations?
Your own like crazy interrogation.
No, I mean the things that you referred to as a brain fry.
This is interesting. You've got a procedure in the field called rollback, and it's an informal interview that can be done with another person. It's not auditing, it's not a security check, but you have free reign of terror over what questions you can ask. It means you don't have to follow the auditor's code.
Who put out this issue on
Or
rollback?
another.
Okay, yep, carry on.
And you can sit there with a person and ask them any question per se, on the fly, ask them anything, talk to them. But they're holding the media cans, you're reading the meter and talking to them. So you're justified in asking anything. Guy says to you, oh, yeah, I heard that Scientology was it's money laundering. Where did you hear that? Oh, from Desmond Harris. Oh, who's Desmond Harris? Oh, this guy. Is he a Scientologist? Would he know anything? Well, why do you listen to this guy? I go, because he's a friend. What made him a friend if he's not helping you in Scientology? And the duration goes right from there on and can increase to anything. There's nothing you can't be asked for in those interviews. The end goal of the interview, guy walking out of it who no longer complains. That's the end goal. And hopefully he hates the source of information that he got it from in the first place. So nothing. Rollback is one of the most evil techniques. I've read the HCO bulletins on it, and they're very selective people that can read this. I don't know why I was privy to them. I shouldn't have been. I didn't have the training for it. But this is just nasty stuff. Ron Hubbard's talking about how to confuse the human being and take that confusion and get it directed towards another target. anything to get you off Scientology track attack. Here's an example of the IRS case. The SEAL campaign was showing the number of human rights violations by the IRS, beating up this person, violating the law on this person, some deaths involved, right? You
Yeah.
recall this?
Yep.
The moment the IRS gave us our little tax-free stamp, that's it, we left them alone. And I asked a long-term Scientologist, Director of Special Affairs, I said, did we fix what happened with the IRS? He said, yeah, we got our tax-free stamps. I went, no, I don't mean that. I mean, did they stop hurting people? And he goes, what? I said, our whole campaign for years was about the IRS hurting people. Did they stop it? Did we find out if they stopped doing it? Why would we just got our tax exemption? Yeah, don't you see the point? We were never in it to correct their out effort. We were only ever in it to get our stamp. Once we got the stamp, we walked away from them and let them do whatever they wanted. We didn't care anymore. Did you kill the guy? I didn't give a shit anymore. Who cares? We got a tax exemption stamp. But that's not the epitome of hypocrisy. But that's what it is.
Yeah.
How inhumane can you get? We're going to drop the. We were helping these people to fight the IRS. The moment we got the IRS stamp, we dumped them. You're on your own now. So can't help you. IRS is on the outside. See you later. Bye bye. We just destroyed your life. We made you write that confession in the paper from the IRS. We made you go public with it. We told you we were going to help you. Bye bye.
So that was part of the strategy. It wasn't just the blackmail of the people that had control of the IRS, but also you used.
We used their victims.
Yeah, got it.
And once they were there, left out hang out to dry, the church just walked away from them. Because we got what we wanted. We got that tax against that.
Right.
And that's the mentality of the organisation. How do we get it? It's not just one man. And it's not all of them. I mean, you've got this guy, he's a SEAL member, he's working in the central files. He's filing, he's writing letters, he's doing his little part for king and country. He doesn't understand that he's just another part of this machine that is geared towards production at all costs. The moment anything interrupts that production, it's extracted, like a bad experience. Staff members, all SEAL members that are left, L. Ron Hubbard told us to call them degraded beings. Now, people like Marty and Mike and many of these executives out there were the very people that were on TV telling you how great it all was and how all these people are ridiculous and liars.
Yep.
And now they're, what does it tell you? Not only did they not buy it, they don't want to buy it anymore. They know what they did. They helped create that mission. Sorry. And they should do something about it. Standing in front of the camera saying, David Scavenge slapped me on the wrist. It's not a confession of what you did. Marty Bradford, sitting on that ship.
What do you mean, sitting on the ship?
Eating 5-star meals on a ship by a 5-star French chef in the Caribbean. Oh, you poor soul. I feel so sorry for you that you get your own private cabin while the other SEAL members are stacked 3 high in rooms small enough for one human being, and we stacked 9 high in it. And you want me to feel sorry for you because you got slapped? You deserve that and a lot more.
Yep.
You know, right at the end of the day, you were just happy to accept your lot. You thought you had some inalienable right to be better than other human beings. You're not talking about that, Mr. Radford. You're not talking about the fact that you had the private steward that came to your table and groveled and asked you what you wanted to eat and got it for you. You're not talking about the fact that you had chauffeurs. These are luxuries, even for regular human beings. And the regular SEAL member looks upon you as a god, and you abuse your privilege. You know, these guys give up 14 hours of their life every day and go sometimes for years without a single day off. And they take one foot wrong, and and they're treated like garbage. And then if they dare leave, they're called a degraded being by Ron Hubbard himself. He told us to call them degraded beings. He said, if you join SEAL, you are one of the greatest people in the universe. And then after you join, he says, you leave, you dare leave, you're a degraded being. How do you reconcile that? How are you supposed to leave? You're not told that when you join the SEAL. Oh, by the way, if you leave, you're going to be labelled a degraded being. Not by me, by Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
You're a degraded being. Call me a degraded human. How dare you? I gave my life to you people. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was saving mankind based on the premise that you presented to me. And you sold me a lie. Then I went around selling that lie, knowing it was a lie. And that's the difference between a victim and an aggressor. And these people that are the aggressors, like me, that did ask you to abort, did ask you to walk away from your wife, your children, put your child in a cadet organization, thumped them full of Scientology for 13 years, and then when I thought the picking was right, I'd take them out and put them in a messenger organization and put them through a bunch of drills and told them how to get compliance. I didn't give them sex education. I didn't teach them the history of Earth. I didn't teach them literature or the fine works of Shakespeare or Frank Herbert or Orson Welles. I didn't get them to read Moby Dick. No, I got them to read Mission Earth, which is full of perverted sexual acts. And then I go and tell them, don't have perversion. Don't listen to your brain. Don't listen.
I mean, like the level of effed upness is just insane. And I just wanted to pause it there because that's something else that I may, I don't know how I would show it, but Mission Earth, if anyone's read that, there is some really disgusting PDF file stuff in there, written by Hubbard. Yeah, I think that's something that needs looking into maybe as well. I don't know if if I should, I don't know. But this guy's integrity and honesty, and he's an incredible guy. He is living his best life. Yeah. Okay, so I've never seen this, but it confirms a lot of what I had believed. So good when somebody tells the truth. Yeah, although highly distressing. Yeah. Yeah, it's an incredible interview. Yeah, I just had to show it, but I'm trying to keep it anonymous. I'm sure people know who it is, but yeah, he's moved on and he's living his life, and I'm really happy for him that he got out. Just how many people are stuck in there at the moment, having to do what this guy did, and he says a few really powerful things. He's just amazing. I absolutely love him. Anyway, I stopped yapping. It's annoying going to two different browsers.
For instance, don't have friends. If you have friends, you might have to comment them one day. So what do? Don't have friends. You have the facade of friendship in the city. Because at the end of the day, you can know these guys, and then all of a sudden, you're in trouble for they don't want to know you. Is that a friendship? What kind of family is that? And then you get these dysfunctional people walking away from the SEAL when people say, well, you're crazy. Sorry, but who's the crazy one? Me for being there, or you for not helping me to stop it?
So these kids that you got from CMO, that you recruited for CMO, how old were they when you recruited them?
Typically 13, 14. We didn't like them too much older than that.
Why?
Because they started to develop their own instincts. At 15, the guy's fully into thinking about sex, women going out, drinking, perhaps even, dare I say it, listening to music. Well, at 13, you can cut him off on that, because this is where he starts to develop what is pleasure to him. This is as he starts to shape the young man or young woman.
Yeah.
That's the time to get him. What's pleasure? Pleasure is getting compliance. Pleasure is having people do what you tell them. Pleasure is being rewarded for an up statistic. You're literally taking their instincts and you're actually changing the way their brain works. You do this long enough, Pavlov dog.
Yep.
Okay? Ring the bell, he knows it's dinner time.
And the seal, ring the bell, you know you're going to get comment. You know what to do. Comply, 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 comply. And the irony is that the prison's just kept curing your mind. It's the same prison though for a civilian going along on a road, driving at 60 kilometers an hour. He has a choice. Do I dare go to 80 kilometers an hour? Well, he can if he wants to. But how would you like to be in a place that knew every time you drove at 80 kilometers an hour? Couldn't get away with it once. How would you feel then? As a civilian here in society, imagine if your government or council knew every thought you had. Every time they put a black box on your car, and every time you drove over the speed limit, gave you a ticket, gave you a ticket, gave you a ticket. And you every time that you had too much to drink, charge you with intoxication, even if you're in your own house. Welcome to the world of the seal, if you let it go on. That's the world you're looking at. Come in for your weekly set check. You drank too much, you were sick. Ethics condition. That's the world you're going to get. Orson Welles, 1984, take a back step. This is something even greater than that. We're talking about not only controlling your actions, we've taken it back to the step of not only controlling your thoughts, but we've taken it back to preventing you from being able to generate that thought. That's a terrifying world.
Yeah.
You dare let the seal expand. Anybody stands by and lets it get to that point. You have no one to blame yourself, but something that will make communism look like Bob's side. We are talking about ultimate. I can line up 100 SEAL members and ask them a question, and I'll give them identical answer. Because that's what they told me.
Yeah.
The Scientology went, yes. Have you heard ones? Yes. What do you think about psychiatry? Bad. What do you think about heavy petting for marriage? No. Clones. They do have personalities down there somewhere, but personality requires a means of expression. If you take that away, sorry, that's not a L1 public photo on your wall. Replace it. Where did you get that quote from? Oh, from this book on this. Replace with L1 public. You're going to get not just going to get robots. Okay, robots is a mild thing. You're going to get something worse. A human being that still computes, but will only compute on what it's told to. That's worse than a robot, because a robot has predefined parameters. But you're getting a free thinking robot. That's terrifying. You want the world to be like the seal, you don't think it's going to expand? Guess what? It's somewhat they think. Because within the society, there is a certain individual that you can get. There's always the high school bully. He still wants to be the bully. And when you hire him and you recruit him, like I did, I love them. Make him a bully. Give him. I remember it. Small little kid.
He's so honest.
And a big head on his shoulder. Literally a big head for his body, laughing. Yeah, that's not how I'm supposed to do. Scared. He's scared. And guess what? He loved it. Little Tyrone Webb, I trained him up. There he goes. Now he's here doing the same thing to human beings.
Yeah.
Yelling, screaming, intimidation. Why? Is he an evil kid? It's just that I took away the parts that allowed him to be free. And I augmented that little trait there, that poor little kid had that little thing about him, about being dominated, and he didn't like it. I gave him the solution. I said, you're dominated, dominate others. And SEAL will continue to grow and win if you allow this horrendous policy to exist that can train people to be as human beings. Because when you talk to a SEAL member and you ask them, are you happy being in SEAL? And he says, yes, I am. Try to understand something. He means that he is happy. Okay?
He is, because that's the way he's programmed. If you put a dog into a kennel this big, and that's all the dog knows, it learns to become happy with that environment. This is why we have human rights, acceptable standards of living. The seal takes these children that have already been in the seal. They already live in bunks at the age of 3 years old. This is what they are used to. They're used to not seeing family. But you're not giving them something different, you're giving them the same. And then when this kid grows up and becomes like David Miscavige, leader of the seal, and you say, oh, it's inhumane to live in a bunk. No, it's not. He wouldn't know what it was like not to. So, if that's the way you want the world to go, just let the seal grow. Do nothing. Sit back. That's Scientologists. How many affidavits are out there? How many people are screaming? You know? Yes, I believe in religious freedom. I believe this guy has the right to be a Muslim. I believe this guy has the right to be a Catholic. This is not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about their actions. I'm sick and tired of the Church of Scientology actually putting forward their creed. And this is what we write, but it's not what we do.
Yeah.
You know, here's the difference. A Catholic priest rapes a child. The church itself finds this disturbing and does want that priest to be punished. They do. They don't want their priests to rape. The difference in the seal is that they do want that priest to imprison your mind. We do want control of employment. We do want you to go this penal colony. We do want to assign you conditions. We do want to put a head on a pike each week and RPF somebody and hit them. We do. This is our policy. And they're lying because the church, the Catholic Church says, this is the Bible. It's happy if you preach the Bible. But in Scientology, the creed, you may not apply the creed and you may not apply the text when you're a member of the seal. You cannot, because the policies clearly contradict everything that Scientology stands for. And that is a fraud. It's a lie.
Exactly. I honestly I find this so powerful to listen to the complete raw truth of what is going on and what he said about taking that young boy. I think he said 12 or 13 or 14 years old, or 12 or 13, just sort of as before they hit puberty or whatever, to mold their minds into what they want them to be, and to take their vulnerability, what they are, you know, God, stupid brain, saying that boy was picked on, you know, for having a big head or whatever, and then turning it round so that he gets to be the bully, you know? He puts it in such an amazing way. He's just completely, just so raw and honest. And I appreciate him so much coming out and saying this. Yeah, it's an incredible interview. Anyway, we shall continue. Thanks, everyone.
And the fact that you can have these people do this to other human beings and not consider consequence like I did is proof enough that there is something intrinsically and wrong in the systemic creation of the organization in the first place. No. How could I do these things? How could I ask a woman to kill an unborn baby? How could I take this woman and send her away from her child and send her to Europe for 2 years and not allow any phone calls back to their family? How did I take all these people in the Whole Guarantee Building and tell them family time is cancelled because you're a Down symptom? This is the very church that preaches family values, that breeds, that talks about creation of a great society. Oh, I'm sorry. You must be talking about something else, because I haven't seen it. And every SEAL member, I know a great idea right now. Get every SEAL member in the world right now to do an affidavit But how they feel about it, go check on them in 10 years. I guarantee you 80% of them will have left and have been clean.
Yep.
I guarantee it. I would stake my life on it. I was one of those. So I would have fought you to the hell come home. I disconnected even from my own family to be the best messenger I could be. I sent my own brother to the rehabilitation force and to the penal colony for having thoughts and for having touched me. Now, if that's not a monster, then please tell me what is.
Got it. Hey, thanks, matey.
Thanks for listening. Not a lot of people do.
Good to have the info.
I'd like some other people to come forward. I'd like some other people that were in positions similar to mine to admit that we just weren't victims. We did things. We did ask for those things to be done to other staff, and we did,
Got it.
and be responsible for their actions, even if it means admitting that they were monsters. Because deep down, none of us were. We thought we were doing something right.
Part of that machine.
Yeah,
Created by the machine.
I was created by the machine, and then I went off to create more. And I'm really sorry to those people that I got in there and I created, because I've run into a couple this year after I've left, and I'm saddened to see how they've turned out as human beings, because there's almost nothing human left. It's just almost nothing there, just compliance. And it's like a 24-hour police officer with no heart. And stay there too long, and I don't know how I still haven't been rehabilitated. I still have trouble, I still have nightmares, I still think about things that happened there. I have dreams of being dominated and dominating. And I still have that switch in my mind I can turn off, want to go. I don't like being like that. You know, I want my emotions to be real. It's really hard to have real emotions when they were forbidden for 6 years.
Yeah, especially at that time. When you were so young, 15 to 22 or something.
Those were my formative years as a human being. It's where humans find out what they want to do in life. They often explore and start careers. My career was to hit, and I enjoyed it. And I'm sick and that I did. But back then I wasn't, but now it's really hard to reconcile that other human being I see in my dreams, or sometimes coming out in an argument or a debate with some other person. He just jumps out there, and I look at him and I go, how can you look at yourself and think of yourself as two people? You're clearly the same person. The question I've got for myself is, am I a good person that we're bad? Or was I always just a bad bastard that just was given the chance to be even worse?
That line gets me so much. And I think you're a good person, mate. I do. The compassion and the complete, 100% owning what he's done and feeling bad about it, I think he is a good person. Absolutely. And yeah, I wish more people would speak out like this. And for anyone that is trapped in the Sea Org or under the radar or whatever, there is rehabilitation, but I think the minimum, like if you've been seriously indoctrinated, as this guy obviously was, and only for 6 years, this was only 6 years of being in the Sea Org, and it's screwed him up this much. There is help out there available in Australia. I've linked in the description. There are post-cult specialized counseling. There's all sorts of resources available here in Australia. So yeah, I probably should have said that at the end. But yeah, anyway, it's almost finished, guys. I know it's a long one.
Which one is it? And if I'm even asking myself a question, I need help. I'm not the only one out there having that same question. Marty and Mike, Tom DeVolt. I know we had good times in the SEAL. I worked with these people. We had great times. We had fun. Let's take a step back and look at what you did. You created an atmosphere of fear and loathing and family separations, and you destroyed all family values and
All those things that make us human, that got us to this great part of life that we know, artistic, singing, loving, dancing, music, all these things that make us human, we stripped them from people around us, and we made it okay to be less than human. I need those people to come forward and talk and admit that it's okay to talk about. It's not okay you ever did it. Nothing will ever make it okay, Carl. Sorry, nothing ever will. If you can't live with that, then I suggest you reflect on yourself and ask yourself, what is a human being?
Yes.
What is a conscience? What is morality, really? And there's an answer there. You might have a couple of tears shed when you find out you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you'll have an even bigger tear when you find out that you enjoy it. And you might look at yourself and want to kill yourself and end your life because of what you put other people through. You don't have to do that. You just have to stop it being done to others now. So step forward, talk. If you're in a Scientologist and you're in good standing and you have the potential to lose them, understand one thing. The seal was promising heaven. When in reality, we're all going to hell, according to him. And all your mates will be there. If you have to disconnect now to make your stand and be heard, then do it. One day, down the road, your friends will come and join you again. Because we're all on the same side of the fence. It's just someone else telling you that we're wrong.
Got it. Hey, mate, thanks for your honesty.
All right, thank you.
Cheers.
Wow. What do you all think about that? Incredible. I really do think that's such an incredible raw interview, and appreciate his honesty and integrity. And oh, thank you, Kirby's mum. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, it's like it's just complete insanity, you know. I'll never forget hearing ASL say a few years ago during a rare question Q&A that although he wasn't that close to his daughters, he was glad that they weren't afraid of him like other people were. Yeah. You know, we never really know what's going on in ex-members' heads and stuff, and I think it's important to, you know, we've never walked in their shoes for people for never-ins like me, and to try and, I mean, this gives it some insight into some of the stuff that goes on, and it's just, I don't know. It's a lot to take in. Yeah, it is, Irish, and I thought about doing it in 2 parts because it's very heavy. But fascinatingly heartbreaking. It's a lot, a lot of emotions. But just the sheer honesty, and he's right. You know, I wonder why more people don't speak out like him. I imagine that it carries a lot of shame. I think maybe I've seen Mike Rinder getting upset a few times, like crying and stuff. I haven't seen him be as honest as this. I don't think I've seen anyone be as honest as this. If I find anyone, I'll bring it up, you know, but it's not something you can just do. There'd be a lot of shame, with Mike, I think, is that having to face, I mean, he was like the head of OSA or whatever, to face what he did would just be, he would implode. Oh, yes, he is actually. Yes, that's right. Yeah, Michelle, please check out Scientology Up North, by the way. Her interview yesterday with Michelle was amazing. Michelle is an ex-Scientologist, or he's been in 3 or 4 cults, I think, but he spent 20 years in Scientology in Quebec. Has a very interesting story and a fabulous book out at the moment. Yeah. It's so incredibly brave of him. I'm just honestly just lost for words. Cece, yes, she spoke out actually. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. It's not easy, you know. And I mean, I spent a lot of time on the phone with Cece, and she was a mess. It's not an easy thing to do. Like the amount of shame, and yeah, I can't even imagine. And you do, people do respect honesty, and you know, yeah, it is hard. Yeah, I can't imagine. Did you see the nature strip's shenanigans? I mean, we went on the nature strip at the last protest and they didn't come out. I couldn't believe it. So I'm gonna have to go there on my own now and be brave and sit on the nature strip, because I've got the police back up. So, and the police came along and they drove past. They didn't even stop and talk to us. So yeah, with the scroll out as well. So now I know what I can do. All right. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that interview. It was pretty intense. Yeah, what I'm gonna do. So I had such a good response to reading Hannah Eltringham-Whitfield's story the other day. So I found a lot of stories from Aussies and some other ones as well, older stories, because there aren't really that many news stories. But I think it's still important to keep these stories alive, and these people, you know, what these people have been through and are still going through, because we know the policies haven't changed. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing that, start going live a bit more, reading out some of these stories, and yeah, so it'll be all right. We'll get through it. I think it'll be brilliant. Okay, all right. I'm gonna head off and probably cook some dinner. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, guys. All right, see you later. Bye. Lots of love. Thanks for being here. Bye.
We stand together, we stand as one. We will not be broken, we'll overcome. This is our battle cry, oh hear our drum. We will not be silenced, our voice is one. We stand with power, a heavy force. We come to triumph with no remorse. This is our call to arms and contention. We cannot be divided, we stand as one. We stand together, we stand as one. We will not be broken, we'll overcome. This is our battle cry, oh hear our drum. We will not be silenced, our voice is one. We will not be silenced, our voice is one. We stand together, we stand as one. We will not be broken, we'll overcome. This is our battle cry, oh hear our drum. We will not be silenced, our voice is one. We will not be silenced, our voice